Hello, my name is Stephen Lazar from Property Network. I've been the director and owner for the past 18 years. My passion is helping my clients grow and secure wealth through educated and astute decision making, using investment grade property as their preferred investment vehicle. I welcome you to our latest informative video blog on SDA property. How we work is when we have a clear understanding of what you, our client, is looking for, your purpose for the investment, and your reason why. We then match a selection of best fit properties to your investment goals. Just over 4 years ago, when NDIS Property first started getting the attention of investors such as yourself, we educated and upskilled ourselves in this complex space, adding SDA Property to our offering for the purpose of further assisting you, our clients, in accelerating your own financial planning goals, using NDIS Property as your preferred yield investment strategy, and then using this yield to invest in a second or a third or any other property in general. 4 years ago, there were very few other groups offering SDAs, or as people now call it, NDIS Property. And from the outset, and in line with our strong morals and valued work ethic, we made a deliberate and conscious decision to meet the purpose and the needs of the NDIS head on, which is to build on a purposely designed and suited floor plan in a location in which participants can access the required infrastructure they need to not only live, but to be able to thrive, calling their new home their forever home. This being the primary purpose of an incredible investment initiative, which you can have access to now. We know from experience that when you source land and build with the participants first and foremost in mind, with then the carer's needs, and lastly yours, it is far easier to attract and hold on to your participants compared to if you're chasing the high yields on paper. Of late, there are now a plethora of sales groups and marketing groups, even mortgage brokers out there pretty much spruiking NDIS properties, jumping onto the bandwagon to earn a fast dollar. Sadly, readily able to sell you, their trusting investor, anything. And in locations with little to no demand or high supply already. It's a sad reality which you want to be made fully aware of. Revisit our previous videos and blogs, and you'll note that we mentioned a statistic of around 80% of what is being touted out there to investors just like you should not be. We warned and we continue to caution that just because someone is selling it or can build it, that it does not mean that you should be buying it. It certainly does not mean that they should be packaging it up and selling it to you with limited or zero regard or accountability. This is even more applicable today with the plethora of these groups flogging SDAs. I cannot express myself strongly enough and caution you sufficiently, yet want-to-be investors are buying up these types of NDIS properties in locations where there's little demand for them, merely buying based on spruiked yields, which are merely yields on paper, you would agree. And almost always, they are not achievable. If you don't understand what I'm saying, ask me, and I will explain it to you. The question is, why are these investors so fallible? Because we know humans make decisions on the back of fear of missing out, and also on greed, and greed is a strong emotion. This is why they're chasing these touted yields, being quoted by salespeople, chasing them with little regard for the reality of the situation, mind you. Hey, we do acknowledge and agree that the yields on paper are freaking incredible. On paper, they are. And a lower price package makes that yield look even more desirable. When you don't know what it is that you don't even know that you don't know, you're making an emotional decision to invest. And this is on the back of someone else's sales skills and marketing, not the required educated decision, devoid of emotion, that you need to make. And we all know the result is not in your favor, but only 100% of the time. It is obvious the only way to offer a lower priced NDIS house and land package is to source land that is cheap and or to build a smaller, lower quality house. Yes? This graphic is just an example of postcode 7052 where land is cheap, but demand is lacking, with currently very low NDI services being provided into this area. There are many examples Australia-wide sharing the same profile. Be wary of where someone is recommending that you invest. To get land that is cheaper, one has to go further out of any city or regional CBD. But what is the demand out there? And will a carer drive that far out of their area of work just because you built an SDA there? Ask yourself this question. This you owe to yourself, yes? The 20% or so of us doing right by this incredible investment opportunity and right by the participants who desperately need NDIS houses, as well as the carers who work in these homes, continue to shake our heads with what is going on in this marketplace. It should be legal, but sadly, it's not regulated at all, and thus a free-for-all. That free-for-all is your risk. I work with highly ethical teams, and I've deliberately surrounded myself with people like them. And that includes the SDA providers, the very people that you would give your property to once it is built, to find you your participants. And do you know what their biggest concern is? Vacancy rates. Yes, vacancy rates in locations with already high supply. Yet there are more SDAs being sold into these locations because the packages look cheap and the yields look great. It should be legal. The very rental managers you would need to appoint are already sitting with a high supply of built SDAs on their books, built primarily in outer postcodes, where there are too few participants and no required infrastructure for them to thrive. Built in greenfield areas with a young socio-demographic, the very populace that are attracted to these areas to live in due to affordability. For goodness sakes, I'm wondering if you're even aware that NDIS participants can only qualify for SDA approval from the age of 18. Did you know this? How many young families in these postcodes have children of that age? We know very few. And how many of those are disabled? Again, even less. And this is where these sales companies are advocating that you build a very expensive build. It just defies logic. Can you now identify why we and the industry are that concerned, hoping that this information makes sense and offers you the insight that you require to become more informed when wanting to invest in this incredible sector being NDIS property? The question we ask, why, almost ensure that you're guaranteeing yourself an overpromised yet highly under-delivered investment vehicle just because someone is selling it. Please be careful who you choose to listen to in this complex space. To further make you aware, Australia-wide, sales and marketing companies are selling more NDIS properties, creating increased competition for you, their very own clients. They are probably misquoting the need in those areas for SDAs, or stating a major hospital is being planned there, or they have waiting lists. I'm sure you've already heard these so-called, yet very questionable validations as to why that location will have participants for your investment. Yes? Where is their responsibility in all of this? to ensure that you have made a sound investment decision. Where? Today, in speaking to a highly recognized SDA provider, asking about a certain location, and a recent meeting she had with a group of salespeople, they asked about a certain area, and she said, yes, there is a need there, but for high physical only. Too many robust, so looking for high physical, but on a well-built floor plan. But she did qualify it and say, there are so many other builders doing exactly the same thing, offering solutions in the same areas. They have no idea how many are being sold into those areas. And this is the type of information that you don't even know that you don't know that you need to know. And that's why we're offering it to you today, hoping that this makes sense, because we really care about the industry. We care about this disability sector, and we do care about investors like yourself, even if we've never met you. Please be aware, ask lots of questions, find someone you want to work with that you know you can like and trust.
When looking for an already built NDIS property, be mindful of these properties that are for sale. You would want to dig deep as to why someone would be selling a goose that keeps on laying the golden egg. There are a lot of NDIS properties coming onto the market as resales or developer stock. Firstly, there's a profit margin built in, so these properties are more expensive. You pay full stamp duties. You've got to question the builder warranty and guarantees if they're still in place, and your depreciation will be lower. But more importantly, why is the property for sale? What's the floor plan look like? And has it got tenants? Which category of tenants and the income? Or is it vacant, and how long has it been vacant? Going back to vacancy rate, a lot of resales are because these investors invested on their greed. They were sold something based on what the marketing company and sales company told them, and thus they've jumped into the opportunity and now have been let down by these sales companies as tenants are just not available in the area, or supply is very high and they might only have one tenant. These are the areas you need to be mindful of when looking at a second-hand or a built SDA. You may send them to us for our review and our feedback. Once again, the purpose of this video blog is to raise awareness for you that just because someone is selling an NDIS property, just because the yields on paper look so good in the tables, just because they're quoting or misquoting demand for SDAs, this does not by any means mean that you should invest in it with your own hard-earned dollars. And when they present you with a package, ask the right questions of them. Ask hard questions, difficult questions, or send them to us for our review on your behalf. We're highly proficient and knowledgeable in this complex investment space, and we'll give you our transparent feedback.
SDA Property certainly does remain an incredible investment initiative and a brilliant do-good investment, but only when you get it correct from the outset. Sadly, the NDIS is a growth industry, and as our population grows, so does the level of people with disability, and so does the level of those under the NDIS who qualify for specialist disability accommodation, who could thus become your participant. A growing market means more demand, requiring ongoing supply of NDIS properties. And then when you build with a participant first and foremost in mind, and then the carer's needs, they will come. What kind of investor are you? Are you attracted to the high yields on paper type of investor? Or would you aim for strategizing to mitigate your risk and still earn a very healthy income from your investment over the life of your investment, that is? Decide up front whether you're chasing those yields on paper or preferring to mitigate your risk and then be realistic about your investment returns. so that when you err on the side of caution and you still earn income above that, that income above becomes a beautiful bonus to you. Does this make investment sense for you? So reach out to me for a conversation. My details will be below. Email or call now. We deliberately elect to remain highly ethical to our core. This is not about us. This is firstly and foremostly about your participants, and secondly about you and your investment. Invite us to help you mitigate your risk so that you can make an informed investment decision as to whether SDA suits your investment strategy, and if yes, which SDA property is a sound fit for your requirements and purpose for your investment. Invite us to work with you and provide you with a selection of best fit NDIS properties to meet your investment requirements, your strategy, your budget, and purpose for your investment. This is Stephen Lazar, Director and owner of properT Network, signing off. Come say hi to me. I look forward to meeting you.